thanks for staying with us. Today marks 7 years the Chibok girls were abducted. Although quite a number of them have come back home, well, at least 100 of them are still with their abductors. Now, Amnesty International released some staggering figures yesterday, saying that between December 2020 and March 2021, there were about 640 kidnapped peoples that happened in Nigeria. Now, what is the government doing about this? How safe are children, especially in certain regions of this country? What the government do? What are they not doing that would like them to change and begin to do? You can call us on 081-270-53687, 091-3907-648. You can tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your TVC so we can read the tweets. Now, this is one of those difficult conversations to have because we've been discussing Chibok girls for many years, and now there have been other children across the country that were abducted. Thank God many of them were released. But the point is the callousness of this act, the audacity, the effrontery that the banditries can actually go into a government school and take up these children and even stop it. Some have even said that it can be enabled by politicians for political reasons. These are different arguments going back and forth. But it's 7 years. In your view, what are your thoughts on how the government has responded? Because this is something that actually caused Jonathan's re-election.
Yeah.
And we're still talking about kidnapped pupils in 2021. So what are your thoughts on it? And what do you think we can begin to do to stop this and stem this from happening going forward?
I think the government has failed its citizens in protecting the lives of the citizens and their property. And if you fail in your primary responsibility as a government, I really do not know what is left. And it's 7 years now. I remember when this happened, there was a lot of noise. Everybody wanted to be, associated with bring back our girls, bring back Chibok, bring back girls. And 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 7 years, and the government of this country cannot tell us exactly where these girls are, exactly how these girls are faring, exactly what the plan is to bring back these girls. There is no conversation going on anywhere. I know that some civil societies had tried to, reach out. Amnesty International had been on it. Conversations have been had, but the government of the country had not come out to give us a plan. Okay, we have wasted time, this is the new strategy. Or even give us updates on what they have found and what next they need to do. Now, I'm also worried about the parents of these children who most of them, or some of them have died. Some of them have, gotten one disease or the other while waiting for their children. We do not even know the state in which these children are. We don't know if they have been converted the other way. So there is nobody talking to us or giving us any information.
I think
7 years.
The worst part of that, the Chibok and all the kidnappings of children is a lot of parents have decided, okay, no, my children are not going to school again. In this report, there is this 16-year-old girl who her parents have said, go and marry, don't go back to school again because I cannot ensure your safety in school. So it is disturbing the education of these young kids. And you see, education is very important for the continued prosperity of a nation. Your youth have to be educated. Now, that in that region, everybody is afraid. Because if I was living there,
you won't.
No child of mine would be going to any school.
Right, absolutely.
So,
let me get your initial thoughts on this one.
So for me, one, of course, we are all disappointed with the fact that there are still Chibok girls, 112 in captivity 7 years after. We've heard rhetorics, we will get them all out. They will be rescued. We have spoken to them. We've heard it all from across the administration since it happened. And I feel really sad that the way I on this show bashed the former president over this situation, and now we seem in a worse quagmire where it has spread farther than where it was happening then before, and we're having consistent kidnapping. But something else struck me when I read the report, especially the one by Daily Trust, in that there is an emotional burden that those that have even been saved are carrying. So they say they are freed, but they are still trapped. Since they've been freed, they are still trying to get their O levels done. Most of them haven't even passed their WAEC exam, and they were purportedly writing it then. So what could have happened to them? The trauma, and some of them have even dropped out. About 10 dropped out and said, "We're not even doing school again. We are going to get married."
Okay, I was going to come there because I wanted us to initially talk about our thoughts on Chibok and then what has happened to those who have been rescued. Because I mean, the numbers are crazy. I see that the report I have says 107 actually failed their SSC. Others who came back just got pregnant. They even bothered to go back to school. And some went back to school and then eventually dropped out. Just like you said, so even if you rescue them, what's going to happen to these children? So is the ripple effect of this act of even kidnapping in the first place that wants us to understand that no government should be sitting down and watching your children kidnapped. What are you doing to protect the schools? I mean, sometimes we hear that security operatives sometimes get this intelligence, like, they're going to do this, but nothing is really done to protect the schools. If you go to some of these government schools, there are fences, there are no fences, no security. There's no way to, I mean, I was happy, was it Kaduna that they found one way to alert the security operatives when they saw the kidnappers, and they were able to foil their attempt of kidnap. But the point is, what else is being done across all the other states?
So while our NGF are meeting on a regular basis to discuss funds, to discuss strike, I think that this is the most important issue in this country, kidnapping, especially of our children, number one. Number two, I also feel that we are playing lip service to how serious this matter is to us. So we now have a case where we don't have a united front on how we will deal with kidnappers. That's a major thing now. So a kidnapper can kidnap in one state and go to another state knowing that they will negotiate with me in this state, but this state they will not negotiate with me. So we have not put action to the words we're saying, and that's a problem. Also, thankfully, the former presidential aspirant Atiku said that he was going to give scholarship to 25 of the students that were rescued. Those ones got to school, but trying to find out where are they in this scholarship, there's no information. No information. So what exactly is the education they are now getting? Like we've already, they are back, but they're still abandoned, and there's no system to reintegrate them into the society. And then we are not studying the ecological effect, the comprehensive. Why can say people will not want to go to school anymore? Then we now have the case of those that came back not even wanting to go to school. So we have a backlog of other problems that are attached to this one issue of kidnapping. And
you know, first and foremost, that part of the country is where we have over time been encouraging people to put their children in school. There's a lot of poverty in the land. A lot of people are not educated. They do not understand the value of school. So it had a problem of trying to even get them to believe in the school in the first place. And now when they have succeeded in sending a few of their words to school, you now end it. So there's an agenda to ensure that that part of the country is impoverished. And the governors are not paying attention to what is happening. It's a ploy. Why is it that in every school in that area is a target, more like a target, where kidnappers will go in and ensure that they close down the school? Because after the abduction happens, you find out that the schools are closed and everybody just goes home. Why are they paying attention to schools in that particular area? That tells me that there's an agenda to ensure education does not go on for their citizens in that area. This is what I intend, or I pray that the governors come together to ask themselves. There's something they say, if it happens to your father, if one sickness kills your father and kills your great-grandfather, it becomes a family sickness. The governors of the north, the northern governors, should come together and ask themselves critical questions. Why is this happening to our people? And what can we do to safeguard our people so that we do not become uneducated and impoverished in the midst of Nigerians?
Let's go on a break. We'll come back. We continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still talking about the fact that government's approach to getting the Chibok girls back have failed over the years. It's been 7 years now. But we're now trying to see the ripple effect of this inefficiency on the part of our government. So I was saying, somebody was giving an analysis saying that you see a young 13-year-old girl in the southern part of Nigeria going to school, preparing for her exams, and you realize that her counterpart in a different part, maybe in a certain northern part of the country, is unable to have that confidence to go to school for the fear of being kidnapped. And these two girls will grow up in the same country at a certain age. Both of them, this one is get educated and move on and have a career. The other one is staying because of fear. Her parents won't allow her to go to school, rather marry her off. Now, and we are all here trying to get the girl child to be emancipated, to be developed, to be empowered. But is that whole effort being counterproductive? Which is going back to what you're saying. There's a lot of movement to get girls empowered across the country, and yet this is happening, and our government is not even ensuring.
I want to just say something here, because I think the most painful thing about this empowerment of the southern girls to the northern girls is the elites in the north are empowered. The people with rich parents, the people with middle class parents, they go to good schools, they are empowered. Some even come to the south, like Queen's College and government schools, government-owned schools, federal government-owned schools. So their own children are going to school. Now it is the ordinary citizen that cannot afford, that is relying on government to educate. They are the ones that are endangered. So that is the problem that I have. Look, when I see governors, all the governors are saying, they are doing things that are not important to the safety of Nigerians. They are not empowering Nigerians. They are not ensuring the safety of Nigerians. Hospitals, zero. Education, zero. Bogwe, zero. Then you see that they want to do a meeting of soldiers wearing hijab. Excuse me.
Is that a priority?
They don't prioritize. Now, if you don't prioritize, how can you move forward? So I think that is why I say it is a mindset thing. When they say, oh, the youth, whether it's youth, whether it's one person that is there, once the mind is not set in the right direction, we are going to be just going in reverse. Okay, I'm going to take Demola's call. Thanks for calling, Demola. Are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, morning, Mariah. I must really commend you for taking interest in this topic. But I want you to realize that a child kidnapped at 13 then is already of marriageable age today. Let's be realistic about this whole matter. The same area, foreigners were kidnapped and their country came in, took their people and went away. Personally, I believe our government is insensitive about this whole matter. I believe for saying that if you have a problem, you can talk to Auntie there. Can you help me out? Because you feel she can actually help you out. But they have received international support. Severally, that we have heard about. I believe personally there is no to it, and we should stop deceiving ourselves in this country.
Oh, Demola, I would have loved to continue that conversation. Okay. You see, I need to be sure that we're on the same page on what I said earlier. There are some children, maybe because of their ethnicity and all that, a 13-year-old, they can be married. That is their culture, and that is fine. Nobody's saying anything against that. That is different in this conversation. The point is that there are some children that choose education, and their parents have allowed them to go to school. These children are the ones that are not being allowed to be educated because of the insecurity in the state. So I want us to separate it. There are those who go off to marriage. That's fine. We're not here to debate the culture of the rightness or wrongness of that. Is the fact that those who want to be educated cannot be educated, and then their entire future is on hold because the government have not been able to secure their school for education.
I think it's just the case. YK nailed it. Yes, mindset, but more of misplaced priority. For me, it is very, very hinged on misplacing the priority. What is very important to us? Nigeria, as at I think 2 years ago, we surpassed India as the headquarters of poverty. We seem to be. It seemed like the government seemed to be on a race to push more people into poverty, especially with the inflation, food expensive, education. and which is the way out of poverty, the way to solve problems in your society, the way to change the economical landscape of your country is to educate people to be innovative and to solve problems. These numbers of people that you have are your solutions, but you have decided to see them as, okay, if I keep them here, I can continue to lord over them, because an empowered mind will fight what is going on in this country. An empowered mind will not take it when all the expenses and budget allocation is going more to your personal bills, to paying your hospitals, to funding your life, as opposed to funding the general populace. Enlightened mind will fight it. Why did we have a lot of people during NSAS coming out? The people that they were the educated ones now, Twitter, education. So the more enlightened people are, the more they will not take being oppressed or being taken for granted. Yeah. So it serves to the political class purpose to keep people uneducated. What they don't realize is that the side effect of it is your buying power will keep on reducing. Your population is the one that should fund you. The oil that is feeding you right now is going down. And no matter how many years you think you can keep on milking crude oil, the real resource we have is our people. Is the human resource that is our biggest,
Let me take this call.
Our biggest value.
Let me take this call from Victor. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here, Mariah.
Go ahead, please.
All right. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
There was a time that I sent you a message on Instagram with regard, I think it's Black Lightning. They use Grandpa's thingy for their show, Black Lightning. And I was like, Auntie, I hope you guys claim for this, because obviously that's some sort of money. You can't use the last song, and then you guys won't get anything out of it. Anyway, that's by the way. The thing is, there's a perception of those of us in London, in UK, abroad, that we think there's a certain way Nigerians. We in UK, in the abroad, we are kind of worried for Nigeria. We are so on point. But when I call and I speak to my friends back home, they just dismiss it like, don't worry, it's happening outside. It's not happening in the mainland. It's not happening where the actual... And I'm like, what are you talking about? So I am worried because I want to come home. I want to come and spend a lot of time at home. But there is that dismissive, don't worry, it's the media that is raising everything. I've got a friend that I was speaking to yesterday, and he just kept on cutting it short, like there's nothing happening.
Right, so he's saying that the feedback he gets from Nigeria is that it's okay because we are down south.
But because it hasn't come to our doorstep. So yes. When it's happening to one, it's actually happening to all.
It's not,
but I wanted to say that...
It happens in Lagos, it's just that we don't hear. There are a lot of kidnappings. I was reading also, I think I posted it. See, look at these 3 kidnappings that have no paper carried it. You know, if you go on maybe social media, you hear, oh, my Kenikon was kidnapped. The papers don't carry everything. So insecurity is not just in the north, it's everywhere. Right. So let's even just see these doctors that are going on strike.
Yeah, in Ogun State.
Do you know what they said? Let me just, do you know what they said? They said that another thing that one of the things when they go to the police, the kidnappers will tell them inside the den
what the police said.
What they told the police.
So that means they are working together.
Complicit.
Yeah. So for me, I think we're just taking one step forward and like 10 steps backwards. And you know, you mentioned something that you raised 2 girls from 2 parts of the country that are going to be working in the same Nigeria at the end of the day. And it just, you know, shows that, because I remember when I was growing up and we had people from the north. I did not mix, I didn't know the elites, I didn't know the middle class. The only people I had around me were the poor ones. And then we always assumed that they had nothing good come out of that part of the country because we didn't get to know them. So when my father started working he worked in Kano, he worked in Maiduguri, and I had to visit, and I mingled with these people. I realized that they're actually intelligent human beings. They are actually smart.
They're just like you.
They are just like me. There is no difference. But the mindset we had, because some of them were not given the opportunity to get education, is that there's nothing, they are dull people and all of that. And this is limiting our human capital. Countries who have excelled are countries who are able to gather human capital, especially when it comes to young girls and women in the workforce. So you put in, the men are working to put in their best for the economy to grow. The women are working to put in their best. Everybody is coming together to build this nation. I would like to ask a question to the presidency and our leaders. What is the vision for Nigeria? Do we have a vision? We hear the American dream. Do we have a Nigerian dream? Do you have a blueprint or where you want to take us to? And this is for other people who are looking to, get into leadership. What do you plan for the country? It's not enough to just sit down and share money and just do one infrastructure here. Our human capital is the greatest asset we can ever have. And it's not just from people around the south or the east. We need to galvanize everybody. We need to work with everybody. People in the north are very resourceful. Even the poor ones there that are not given the opportunity to get education. What is the plan for Nigeria? Let us take it from there.
All right, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we take some tweets and calls. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're going to take this conversation back to Chibok because the girls, at least 100 of them, are still in captivity.
Yep.
The ones that were abducted recently, some are released. We don't know how they're faring. We don't know if they're back to school. Some of them have tried to come back to school. Others have been dropped out. I would like us to really talk about ensuring the safety of our schools across board. How do we, number one, what can we begin to demand of the government to bring back those ones? And if they come back, do they even want to come back? We don't know that. But how do we prevent this from happening again? Because as I said earlier during my previous intro, I think it was in Kaduna, where they were able to put in some kind of a system that once you see these intruders, you either call the number or hit a bell or something, and that thing was scuttled. It was scuttled. They were unable to take the children. I think it was a Kaduna State that happened. Can we replicate that across board to protect these children? Because we don't want to hear of another kidnapping that happened in schools.
100%. 100%. So for me, I think that we were not deploying YK. Honestly, I'm just quoting YK a lot today. But because you preempt everything that would be the preferred solution in terms of we're not being resourceful with what we have. Like we have a brain. This is this same brain that developed countries used to solve their own problems, because they all had, if you go back in history, America had their own where there was a lot of kidnapping and crime extensively across the country, and they deployed their number 6 or number 5. Like I said, number 6 or number 5. They deployed it to mitigate a lot of this crisis. And I think that our leaders, they seem to be bereft of ideas. That's just another word to use in terms of how to create the solutions to this problem. So we know that it's carrot and stick. We even, former President Obasanjo and Shegumi brought a blueprint. When they dropped that, my expectation would have been that from the government's point of view, somebody would have read that thing and responded and say, oh, we've heard this, the NGF is going to do this. Like, we don't seem to be on top of the game. Like, we're not even thinking about it. So for me, it is innovation. That's Kaduna was able to innovate. They did one thing, but we can have other states find in an innovative way to solve this problem, but we're not thinking.
Just to tell our viewers, we're trying to get to the guests earlier to add to this conversation, but unfortunately the guest cancelled, so that's why we're just talking about it. So it's been great to have somebody who has been involved and in the front lines of the campaigns to bring back these children, to help to give us, share us what they've done so far, what the government is saying. To be great to hear from the government. What have you done? What are the updates, as Busy had said earlier? What should be our expectations? How do we even manage the expectations of the parents? So that's what we would have loved to have, but unfortunately our guest cancelled on us this morning. So we're just discussing. I would like to get more phone calls and Twitters on your comments on this. Yes.
You know, when the girls were first kidnapped, there was this whole campaign of private citizens who bring back our girls, bring back the Chibok girls, people wearing T-shirts, people tweeting. But 5-6 years down the line, everybody's silent. So, and you know, I think it's one of our major problems in this part of the world. We can't sustain things, you know. So we will be looking at us and they'll be laughing. Don't mind them. I remember when we were first voting for Fela that time, before you knew it, Fela was 200,000 people. Now, to get people to even vote, even me myself, that I'm
Have you voted?
You know, so we can't sustain. And because I think if those people had sustained that to bring back our girls, government would have been forced to listen.
Okay, let me take Osuji from Abuja and hold it for a while. Osuji, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning.
Morning, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I want to make a contribution towards the abduction of all these school children, you know?
Yes.
What I'm trying to say is that at times we lack our security personnel, we lack short of manpower. Are you hearing me?
Yes, very clearly. True.
We lack of manpower. And again, I believe that all these bandits attacking these school children, their numbers are higher, more higher than the number of security personnel that we have. Especially, now, for example, the police did advert 2020. Civil Defense did advert 2019, of which the mandate given to Civil Defense is to protect the government infrastructure and also to protect these children. If they can deploy their personnel to all these schools, their armed personnel, as to station them.
Ooh. So it would have been great to have. Well, see how many schools can you really secure?
You like that? I wanted to add.
Let me just take
I wanted to add to YK that you know, when Chibok happened, we didn't have any VIP child amongst them. So it was easy to just talk shop, insignificant human beings. Okay, let's move on. Let's find something else to do. And but we see there's always a difference in response, in the type of response we get when a VIP is involved in all of this. So we know that one. Let's not even mention it. But also, it shows me that the government is not in a place where it cares enough for its people, because people who live around those areas, who know these people, can easily go to the police and make reports, but they are afraid that their lives will be, you know, threatened. These bandits come back and carry out reprisal attacks in these villages, and the government that they have reported to cannot even protect them. So I do not want to believe that people around those areas don't know where these people are. They know, but they cannot say anything because they do not trust that the government will protect them. So solution-wise now, in seeking for solution, the government should set up, should give us that confidence that if you come and give intelligence reports, you will be protected. You will be taken out of that area. When we do that, first of all, we can find, in case they are saying they do not know where these girls are, we can find out where they are, and then you make plans to rescue them.
Yes, now. And it was not implemented.
I want to disagree with you about the Chibok girls. That it was because there was no VIP. Because Obio Zekwesili, Aisha Yusuf.
No, they are children.
No. Their children were not there now.
That's what I'm saying.
But they really. I mean, it was they carried that thing on their head. They really did. And I give them kudos for that.
No, you don't understand what I said. I said if the VIP children, maybe one or two of them were involved among the children abducted, the government would have reacted differently.
Oh, okay.
That's what I meant.
That's what you're saying. I thought you were saying they didn't fight for them, because they did fight for them.
We have to run, unfortunately. Have any tweets, please?
Yes, let me take the tweets. Professor Enna Kenna. Northern Nigeria, who are already skeptical of sending their kids to school, will become even more circumspect if the lives of their kids aren't guaranteed going to school. Government has failed if they can't fix this pocket of crude criminality going on. Hopelessness is a sin, though. FGN must do all it can to fix this conundrum of banditry, kidnappings, and insurgents. The future belongs to hope and not fear. Government must deploy every arsenal it can to put a stop to these pockets of kidnappings of school kids. KB, it's tiring discussing security issues every day without headway. We need a holistic approach to solve this issue. We need state police so that federal security agencies can focus on terrorism. Bilikis says our country has turned into a war zone because surviving the day is an uncertain battle. It's crippling because most Nigerians in diaspora truly wish to invest back home. I know this for a fact, but who is guaranteeing your safety, the investments, and success? Disheartening. Should I take one more?
Go ahead.
Baba Oloye, They say there is no vision. You can imagine if the presidency is in the south, the northern leaders would say there is a plan to uneducate the north. The solution starts with trying to find out who is a Nigerian. Kolade, the Nigerian security issue have some political backup, and the security personnel are using outdated weapons compared to the terrorists. I think we need some foreign aid from foreign countries in our political
we have to wrap
system.
up. I think I'd like to just remind us that a lot of organizations, civil society, NGOs have done years and years of work to get children in certain regions to have education, to expose them to Western education. Unfortunately, this insecurity have pushed them back scores. So we're saying that it's difficult. How do we begin to rebuild and make education attractive
to them
in these societies? How would a parent be comfortable in sending their children to school? That is a serious problem, and it's something that the government, aside from securing the schools, how you're going to develop that proposition back to the parents is something that the government must begin to think about towards getting these children back. We have to wrap up.
We have local governments. Why can each local government not be in charge of all the schools in his area?
They used to be.
I can't understand
back
it.
in the day, right?
Yeah.
See, okay, this thing is deeper.
Deeper.
No, it's the decay.
Yes.
The years and years of decay. That's why if an Obasanjo gives me a secular, I will not read it. No, even if there's a solution inside the
you won't read it.
Because the reason is that he has been there. Listen, he has been there since.
Yes.
He has been there since the 70s when I was a kid. I am now 60 almost. Don't give me solution, because you could have implemented the solution when you were there. Don't come and implement it when I'm not there now.
And even the same was Obasanjo told us recently that it was the weakening of the local government. Remember, they're still fighting for autonomy. Because if the local government was collecting their money directly, maybe, but we saw then that in the past they've abused it. That's why they take the money through the states and let the state then give them. So it's a whole deep.
Then the government will now sit on who is going to be the local government chairman. The local government chairman.
Unfortunately, we have to wrap up on this. But honestly, our hearts go out to the families. We just continue to pray that one day your children, they'll be reconciled with their children. And pray that also God will give our leaders the wisdom or the idea on how to rescue the remaining children and reconcile them with their family. That's all we can take. That's going to break. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.